ranking every U.S. state by how likely I'll be to name one of my future children after their governor. I'll just be using the governor's last name because that's way more fun, and my last name is Brown, so that'll be a factor too. Number 50, pretty easy for me. Oregon, Kate Brown. My child's name would be Brown Brown. No thanks. 49, Utah, another easy choice. Spencer Cox. Cox Brown. This one's self-explanatory. 48, Idaho, Little Brown. That's a guarantee to make sure my child gets bullied. 47, South Carolina, McMaster Brown sounds like the nickname you would give the best cook at McDonald's. 46, Florida, DeSantis. This word just looks a little bit too much like DeSatan, and I don't want my child to be subject to that. 45, Ohio, DeWine. If I put wine in a child's name, people would think I'm an alcoholic, so I named my kid after my favorite beverage. 44, New York, Cuomo. This dude is just way too well known for this to look like anything other than I'm obsessed with him, so I named my kid in his honor. Who in the world would be that obsessed with politics? 43, Montana, Gianforte. I hope I pronounced that right, and that's the reason it's this low on the list. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. 42, New Hampshire, Sununu. Just kind of an odd-sounding word, so I wouldn't want to give my kid this name. 41, Nevada, Sisolak. Just another one that sounds kind of weird, and I wouldn't want to use that for a child. 40, South Dakota, Nome. Do I want my child to be a lawn ornament for their entire life? 39, Arizona, Ducey Brown. That sounds like something I'm about to drop in the toilet, not a child's name. 38 is Minnesota, Walls. Why would I name my child after the structures that hold up a building? At 37, we start a run of names that just kind of sound too weird to me to be used for a first name. So 37 is Illinois, Pritzker. 36, Kentucky, Bashir. Same thing, just a little too odd sounding to be used for a first name. 35, North Dakota. Again, the same thing, Burgum. Not too bad for a last name, just a little weird to be a first name. At 34, we start a run of names that are just way too obviously last names. So 34 is Arkansas, Hutchinson. 33, Indiana, Holcomb. Again, the same thing. It's a normal last name, just doesn't work for a first name. 32 is the same thing, New Mexico, Grisham. And again, at 31, we've got the same thing, Nebraska, Ricketts, only good for a last name. 30 is Virginia, Northam. This sounds more like a clothing brand rather than my child's name. 29, Colorado, Polis. Just not feeling this one at all. 28, Hawaii, Ige. Now, I am very much not Hawaiian, and since this is a Hawaiian name, people probably wouldn't like me using it for my kid. 27, Maine, Mills. The S on the end of this one just ruins it because I'm naming one child, not multiple children. And for similar reasons, 26 is Evers. Evers Brown doesn't sound too bad though, so that's why it beat out the other one. And again with 25, Louisiana, Edwards. Obviously Edward by itself would be fine, but making it plural just doesn't work for one kid. 24 is Texas, Abbott. Definitely not great, but better than a lot of the ones we've seen so far. 23, Oklahoma, Stitt. The only reason this one made it this far is because I'm a big Clemson fan, as you can see, and we had a legendary basketball player named DeMontez Stitt, so the name could have some meaning to me, but still not a great first name. 22, California, Newsom. Kind of sounds like Newton, or maybe you could shorten it to Newt, something like that, so that's the only reason it made it this long. 21, Rhode Island, McKee. I'm not huge on this one for a first name, but McKee Brown has a pretty good ring to it. Number 20 is Pennsylvania, Wolf. I think there are some people out there that actually have this name, so it's kind of realistic, but I just would never name my child after a beastly animal. 19 is Michigan, Whitmer. The only reason this one made it this far is because you could call her Whit for short, and that would definitely work. 18, Georgia, Kemp. It's short and sweet, and Kemp Brown has a nice ring to it. 17, Delaware, Carney. This is another one more well-known as a last name, but it could work for a first name, and it sounds all right with mine, Carney Brown. 16, New Jersey, Murphy. Also more of a last name, but absolutely could work as a first name too. 15, Maryland, Hogan. I think this would be a little bit better as a nickname, but I guess it could work for a first name, and Hogan Brown sounds all right. 14, West Virginia, Justice. I'm not huge on the way this one sounds, but with a name like Justice Brown, I'd be guaranteed to know what his future career is going to be. 13, Alaska, Dunleavy. Obviously more of a last name, but I think this could be kind of cute for a first name too. 12, Iowa, Reynolds. Obviously the S on the end kind of throws this one off, but this is another one that I think might could work and sound kind of cute for a little girl. 11, Washington, Inslee. This one kind of sounds like the girl named Ansley, so I think this one could definitely work. Number 10 is Connecticut, Lamont, a very normal name, but just not sure how well it would fit me personally. Number 9, Mississippi, Reeves, typically thought of as more of a last name, but I've actually heard of a couple people that have this as their first name, so it could definitely work. 8, Tennessee, Lee, a very normal name that could totally work, and Lee Brown has a nice ring to it. 7, Kansas, Kelly, another common name that could work for either a girl or a boy. Number 6, Vermont, Scott Brown, just a solid, nice sounding name. Number 5, Missouri, Parson. This would be absolutely legendary. Parson Brown. People would sing about my child every year at Christmas time. How awesome is that to have your kid's name in a Christmas carol? Number 4, North Carolina, Cooper, another typical name that works well with my last name. Number 3, Wyoming, Gordon. I like this one because it's not really a crazy name, but it's also not super popular, so my kid's name would be kind of unique, and I like the way this one looks when it's spelled out. Number 2, Alabama, Ivy. I think this name is so cute for a little girl, so this one was an easy choice to be near the top. And number 1, Massachusetts. If I had to name my child after a state's governor, I would go with Baker. It's a common name, but not super popular to where my child's name isn't unique, and Baker Brown sounds phenomenal.